I know it's been said that a lot of times God speaks to us by different means through His Word in the Bible. Sometimes He uses things that are totally bizarre to us, but that's Him speaking to us. And sometimes He uses other people, and that happens more times than not. He uses other people to convey messages to us, and today was one of those instances. I was visiting my family at my ex-wife's house, and I was talking to my 19-year-old daughter, and I remember telling her that I pray every day for restoration of the marriage. And her reaction was a bit weird, actually, because she had talked about how, well, when you pray, are you only praying for the restoration of the marriage? What if God doesn't want that? And I said, but God hates divorce, and He's still death to His part. She goes, I get that, but wouldn't it be better to pray to be guided by God and in God's will? So whatever His will is, whatever happens, happens, and you'll be in His will and letting Him guide you. And that way it shows you trust Him, regardless of what happens. Maybe the marriage is restored. Some time passes and the marriage is restored, and then maybe it's not. But at least that way, the whole time you were going through this, you were showing trust in God and proving to Him that you trust Him, and whatever happens, happens. And I was reminded of the three that were thrown into the fire, the big oven. I can't remember exactly all their names, but they were like, well, whatever happens, happens, but regardless of what happens, we'll be with God, and that's all that matters. When Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, before he was like, well, whatever happens, happens. I'll either survive it, or I won't. And whatever it is, I'll still be with God. And the killer of it was that this is my 19-year-old daughter saying this. And that I knew right then and there God was speaking to me through her. And she was right. She was absolutely right. And that really wowed me. Yeah, instead of praying for the restoration of the marriage, and only that, and that's what I've been doing, I need to pray for God to guide me and just to let it be totally in His hands and to show Him I trust Him. And as much as it would hurt if the marriage wasn't restored, the fact that I'd be in line with God's will and showing my trust in Him, and therefore being with Him and He with me, that's what's more important. God knows what I want. He knows what I want the end result to be. He knows this. But He also knows everything else. He knows what's best for my family. He knows my ex-wife's heart. He knows her mind. I don't. But He does. And I think hearing my daughter's voice say that, we were sitting together talking, it made me realize, wow. Because I've seen it on YouTube videos, I've seen it on YouTube comments, and that's great and all, but those are total strangers. They mean nothing to me. But for my 19-year-old daughter, the apple of my eye, to just be brave enough to say that, and she was right on. And it's tough because as much as I want this marriage restored and to be till death do us part, God knows what's best for us. So I have to accept the fact that that might not be as well. We might not be restored and reconcile. And I was talking to my ex-wife today, and she said, I don't know what God's got in store for us. I have no idea. But in the meantime, I thought, well, okay, yeah. And I don't know. Well, I guess I do know. Because when I got back to, many of you might not understand though, or be aware of the fact that, since the divorce, I've been told to leave the house and I've been living in my minivan. And that's been since the 11th of November. And today is like the 16th of January. And even though I'm in this position, in this predicament, it's not the first time I've been homeless in my life. It's actually the third. That's not the problem. The problem is I still love my ex-wife. And I'm hoping, above all hopes, that we reconcile. But after talking with my 19-year-old daughter today, I realize that it doesn't matter what I want. It really doesn't matter what I hope for. God knows what's the best thing for all of us. And that's what's going to happen. I have to have the strength and the courage to put all my trust in God. To let Him guide me in my steps. Because I made a horrible mistake. I found some really touching words on like an image, a couple of images. And it was meant for was a husband saying it to his wife. And it was amazing words. And I made the mistake of sending that in a text to my ex not that long ago. In my defense, it was right after I had a really rough evening of watching shows, and I talked about it in another video. But there was reminders of what she used to do for me, and then reminders of our anniversary date. And it was just a rough evening. And then I found those pictures, and I made the mistake of sending them to her that next day. And she told me today that she took that as me trying to, not, she said force, but she meant more like try to influence her and manipulate her and things like that. And I was like, no, that was not why I did that. And I realized what a horrible mistake that was. I thought they were kind, tender words that I should have said to her throughout the marriage. I was just trying to express that to her. And she took it a completely wrong way. But I can understand why she did that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I took it upon myself to do that. And that was a mistake. And what I should have done was pray not for just the restoration of our marriage, but say, God, what do you want me to do? What do I need to do to get through this? What don't you want me to do, more importantly? And I guarantee you probably would have said, don't send that text. You probably would have said that. So now I pray not for the restoration of our marriage, because he knows that's what I want. I don't have to tell him that. He knows that. I think my ex knows that too. I haven't said it to her directly, but I think she can kind of gather that. But the reality of it is, it doesn't matter what I want or what I hope for. What matters is what God knows is best for us. I think we all need to keep that in our minds, guys. God knows what's best. He always has. He always will. And that's what I think we need to focus on in these rough times we're going through. So keep that in mind, no matter what you're going through. I think it's better that we pray for God to guide us, keep us in His will and His way. And then hopefully it will turn out for the best. But it'll turn out the way God knows it should and will benefit us and the people we love. All right, that's all I got, gang. Thanks for your time and attention. Be blessed.